Kept working, fingers shaking on the keyboard. I don't remember falling. Next thing I knew, I was in a hospital bed, wires all over me, machines beeping in some kind of rhythm I couldn't follow. The lights were dim, but sharp. I tasted blood in the back of my throat, like I'd bitten my tongue. A nurse leaned over me, saying something about how I'd been out for a few hours. I tried to talk, but my throat was raw. Doctors came in later, looked serious. One of them asked if I had a history of heart disease. I didn't. They said I'd had a heart attack. Not stress, not dehydration. A real, full-on heart attack at 32. They asked about emergency contacts. I gave them my parents' numbers, even though I knew better. I told them to call my mom first because she usually answers. 2 days passed. Nothing. No call. No visit. No text. I thought maybe they didn't get the message or something went wrong. I even asked the nurses to double-check. They had. Twice. Late on the second night, I finally picked up my phone. I hadn't looked at it since the collapse. My hands were still shaky, but I scrolled through notifications, hoping, stupidly, that maybe someone had reached out. That's when I saw it. Chelsea had posted an Instagram story. It was a backyard cookout. Tara by the grill, Dad sipping beer, Mom smiling like nothing was wrong. The caption slapped me in the face. No drama today. That was the word she used. Drama. Not my brother's in the hospital. Not he had a heart attack. Just no drama. Quick break. Before we keep going, drop your city or country in the comments. Curious where people are tuning in from. And let's continue. I stared at that post for a long time, the smell of hospital disinfectant creeping up my nose like it wanted to make a home there. I zoomed in. Everyone looked happy, relaxed. It was sunny. And there I was, alone, hooked up to machines, waiting for someone to act like I existed. Even when I was a kid, I knew they didn't really see me, but I didn't think they'd outright ignore a damn heart attack. I put my phone down, reached for the water cup with the stupid plastic lid, and missed. It fell, crashed to the floor. The nurse came rushing in, asked if I was okay. I didn't answer. I just looked at her and said, "Can you take me off the family contact list?" The nurse nodded and made the change in the system. No more family contacts. I stared at the ceiling, half expecting some wave of guilt to hit. It didn't. Next morning, I checked my phone for the first time since seeing that cookout post. 74 missed calls, no joke, and one text from my dad. "We need you. Answer immediately." No, "Are you okay?" No, "We're sorry we didn't come." Just another damn demand. I didn't answer. I called Roy, hadn't talked to him in months, maybe a year. He picked up on the second ring. He didn't ask why I was in the hospital, didn't press, just said, "I'll be there in 30. He showed up in 40, button-down shirt, weathered jeans, and those same boots he wore to my high school graduation. He sat next to the bed and said, "Which tests have they done so far?" I didn't even know. He pulled a legal pad from his bag, flagged down a nurse, and started asking questions like he'd been prepped for a deposition. Then he reached into his coat pocket, pulled out his wallet, and handed a nurse his card. "I want this lab bill cleared. He doesn't need this hanging over his head." I didn't know how much it was. Didn't ask. After the nurse left, Roy said, "You look like you've been run over." "I feel worse. Let's talk through your finances." It wasn't a question. He sat the legal pad on the rolling tray, clicked his pen. We logged into my accounts from the hospital tablet. What we found didn't even surprise me, not really. Just pissed me off. 5 loans in my name, 3 credit cards with balances I hadn't touched, 2 utility bills linked to addresses I hadn't lived at in years. I recognized Chelsea's old apartment, Tara's electric bill from her candle shop, a weird internet charge that traced back to my parents' second line they used for streaming. Roy tapped the side of the tablet. "Did you co-sign all these?" "No." "They ask?" I shook my head. He nodded once. quiet, like that answered a question he'd been sitting on for a long time. I leaned back and stared at the IV drip. I think I've been paying for everything for so long, I didn't even notice it anymore. He looked at me. Not paying, I said. Bleeding. That night, after the evening rounds, Roy stayed. Pulled the little visitor chair up close and spread papers across the table. We listed out every bank account, auto pay, account authorization, recurring Venmo, and bill I'd ever picked up without thinking. It was like watching my life unfold in receipts, except none of them were for me. I sat there with a marker, drawing fat red X's through each name, each account, each lie disguised as a favor. I wasn't doing it out of anger. I wasn't even doing it for revenge. I was doing it because I finally realized how scared I'd been. That if I said no, they'd leave me behind, like I didn't matter. But they'd already done that. I had a heart attack, and they had a cookout. Roy took over my phone and handled the first wave. Called 3 credit card companies. Froze the accounts. Then he started a fraud log. Every step documented. You can't fix it all overnight, he said, standing to stretch his back. But you're gonna fix it. And this time, you're not doing it alone. I didn't say thank you. I just nodded. We didn't talk much after that. Just worked. At midnight, I unplugged one of the hospital chargers that had been feeding my phone all day. The screen lit up again. Missed calls climbing. Chelsea, Tara, Dad. I put it on airplane mode and went to sleep. By the next morning, the silence was gone. I woke up to 37 new texts, 9 voicemails, and 3 missed FaceTime calls, all from family. Chelsea had sent a screenshot of her bank account, $27.03, no context, just a text under it. WTF is going on? Then Tara chimed in with her peacekeeper routine. Please don't punish me for what others did. I love you. I've always tried to stay neutral. Neutral. That's what she called forwarding my W-2 to Mom last year. As a joke. Dad didn't message at first. He just showed up. I looked out my apartment window, and there he was, parked across the street in his old blue truck, just sitting there. No knock, no call, just parked. 5 hours later, after he finally pulled off, I got a text. You're about to destroy everything we built. We? I muttered, tossing the phone on the kitchen counter. I built everything. You just signed your name to it. I'd already started shutting down the leftover credit lines, freezing access on any cards linked to my name. I updated every password, killed every autopay, revoked every authorized user. Every day, Roy and I knocked out more of the mess, but every step triggered another explosion from them. Then came the video. Chelsea posted a slow pan across the living room of my parents' house, empty shelves, boxes by the door, a lamp knocked sideways, sad piano music in the background. Caption read, "They took everything." That was the moment the game changed, because the comments started rolling in, and people actually believed it. I got tagged by name. Someone even messaged me directly. Why would you do this to your own family? Like I'd kicked them out of their house. Roy came over later that night and sat me down. He had a folder in hand. Time to show you something, he said. He laid out a series of documents, loan statements, title transfers, a cash-out refi I had never signed. They'd refinanced the house 6 months ago, not to pay off the mortgage. No, they'd drained equity to cover Chelsea's credit card debt and fund Tara's candle business, and they defaulted anyway. That's why the house was being cleared out. It wasn't taken. It was lost. Not a single dime had gone to the actual payments. I gripped the side of the table. So they let it go to foreclosure just to fund garbage. Roy didn't flinch. They used you as a buffer until the bottom dropped out. They didn't even tell me. They never do. He leaned back and pulled another envelope from his coat. Inside were legal forms, not new ones, old ones, months old, signed, sealed. These are my assets, he said, transferred into a trust, under your name. I stared at him, completely stunned. When did you? After your last family Thanksgiving. You showed up with your laptop, paid Tara's car insurance during dessert, and nobody even said thank you. That's when I knew. So I moved everything before they could smell blood. You didn't tell me. I wanted to wait until you were ready to stop bleeding for people who only show up when they're hungry. I sat back, my stomach turning, heart pounding harder than it should have after a hospital discharge. So now I've got a target on my back. You already did, he said. Now at least you've got armor. After he left, I checked Instagram again. Chelsea had posted a follow-up video. Just her, crying in her car, sniffling, shaky hands. I don't understand why he's doing this. We're family. We've always had each other's backs. The comments? Brutal. People were defending her. One person wrote, "He probably got money and forgot who fed him." Another, "He left you when you needed him most." I didn't reply. I didn't comment. I just took screenshots. I called Roy. Time to document everything. Already ahead of you. The next day, a hospital staffer knocked before walking in. Clipboard tight in her hands, face uneasy. "Sorry to bother you," she said, "but your sister's downstairs. She says she's your medical proxy." I blinked at her. "Tara?" She nodded. "I never listed her. I never listed any of them." I figured. The nurse shifted her weight. "Do you want us to let her up?" I stared at the door for a second, jaw locked. Number keep her out. And flag my chart. Nobody gets access unless they're cleared by Roy. She nodded again, a little relieved, and left the room. I thought that would be the end of it. Another boundary set, another line held. But I should have known better. That evening, Roy came by like he always did. He didn't even take off his coat before handing me a thick manila envelope. "Read every page," he said. Inside were printouts, emails, PDF scans, screenshots from some busted law office website, messages between my parents and a lawyer named Randall J. Bixley, a name so fake it could have been from a cartoon. The subject lines: guardianship filing prep, mental health documentation, financial authority draft. I flipped through page after page, hands going numb. There it was in black and white, a letter from my mom stating that I'd suffered a mental health collapse triggered by stress and delusion. My dad backed it up with a note saying I was medically compromised and unable to manage long-term decisions. This is a lie," I said, holding the page up. Roy didn't blink. "Of course it is. They're trying to get control of everything again. They've done it before." I looked at him. "What?" He sat down across from me, like he'd been waiting to say it. "They tried this same move on your Uncle Greg. Years back, when he sold his share of the family business and cut contact. No one ever told me that. Because they made him look crazy. Said he went off the deep end. You probably heard Mom talk about it at Christmas, like he vanished on purpose." I remembered. She used to say, "Greg's always been unstable. He couldn't handle real life." Now I knew why he disappeared. I went back to the papers. The last few emails spelled out their plan clear as day. Gain guardianship, gain account access, retake financial control before outside influence damages family structure. Outside influence. That meant Roy. "They're not even subtle," I said. "No," he replied, "because they're desperate." I put the papers down and took a breath. I didn't cry, didn't throw anything. I just grabbed the legal pad Roy kept in my drawer, flipped to a fresh page, and made a new list. "Cease and desist," I said, writing it out. "Full fraud alert," I added. "Financial lockout, attorney authorization, and start recording every message, every call, every attempt." Roy pulled out his phone. "Already talked to Alan. He's ready when you are." Alan was Roy's lawyer, the one who set up the asset protection months ago, the one who didn't play games. We called him right then. Roy explained the situation. I filled in gaps. Alan didn't even sound surprised. "This kind of thing," he said, "is more common than people think. It's disgusting, but it's not new." He walked us through the documents we needed to file, guardianship block, cease and desist, fraud flags on all my financial records, and an alert to all 3 credit bureaus. Then he said something I'll never forget. From this point forward, they're not family. They're liability. I hung up and set the phone down. Roy stood, cracked his back, and looked down at me. You good? I'm fine. You sure? Yeah. I'm done letting them reach for my throat and calling it a hug. He gave me a nod and walked out. 10 minutes later, I got a text from Tara. Please just talk to us. We're worried about you. You're not thinking clearly. Right below it was another message. This one from my dad. This isn't who you are. You're better than this. You've let that old man poison you against your own blood. I screenshotted both and added them to the folder. Let them keep writing. Every word was just more evidence. I barely slept that night. I kept checking my phone, not out of fear, just to document. Every text from them was a gift at this point. Every lie, every guilt trip, every accusation, I was stacking receipts like bricks. The next morning, Tara went nuclear. She posted a video on Facebook, then Instagram, then TikTok, same one everywhere. Her face was puffy like she'd squeezed tears out for the camera. She had one of those soft, broken voices people use when they want sympathy, but don't mean a word of it. I know my brother's going through a lot, she said, eyes red but dry. We've just been trying to help, but sometimes people push away the ones who love them most. Then she sniffled, looked away from the camera like she couldn't bear to go on. In the caption, she wrote, "He's not well. Please pray for my family during this heartbreaking time." 10 minutes later, Melissa, one of Mom's friends from church, reposted it with her own caption. We're praying for healing in this broken home. God sees you, Tara. The internet ate it up. Comment after comment, sending love. You're so strong. Family is everything. I didn't respond, just watched it burn. Then someone reposted Chelsea's cookout photo, the one from the day I was in the ICU, the one with no drama today slapped across the top. And just like that, the comments flipped. One user wrote, "Y'all look real broken-hearted flipping burgers while your brother was dying." Another, "Where was all this love when he was on life support?" And another, "Y'all didn't pray. Y'all stole." Then came the wave of receipts, old posts, screenshots, tweets, Tara's Twitter from 2 years ago. Some people fake mental illness for attention, and it shows. Mom's Instagram, same day as my heart attack, smiling with a slice of cake. Happy birthday to me. No negativity allowed today. Someone pulled up a Facebook comment from Chelsea bragging about taking out a lil loan in my big bro's name as a temporary fix. People didn't just turn, they dug. Within days, Tara's candle shop started tanking. Bad reviews flooded in. Fraud family, liar brand, support small business, just not this one. Her collaborators dropped her. Brand partners started publicly distancing. She went silent on socials for the first time in years. Chelsea posted another video trying to spin it. We've made mistakes, but we're just trying to protect our family's future. Someone in the comments replied with a screenshot of her Venmo request to me from the week before my heart attack. Captioned, "Protecting the future by draining your brother's account, huh?" Then it hit home. Dad. Someone leaked internal emails from his job. He worked logistics for a local vendor that prided itself on integrity-driven partnerships. A customer had flagged the family drama. 3 days later, he was fired. I didn't celebrate, didn't gloat, but I wasn't sorry either. Actions had consequences, and for once, they were getting hit with all the ones they'd been dodging for years. Then I got the text from Mom. No caps, no drama, just, "Please, can we talk?" That was it. No apology, no explanation. Just her trying to sound small and human, like we hadn't just survived a full-blown family smear campaign with legal paperwork to prove it. I read it twice. Then I closed the thread, archived the message, and shut off my phone. They could keep telling their version of events. The sweet daughter, the worried sister, the honorable father. the misunderstood mother. Let them sit in it. Let them explain why the world suddenly stopped buying what they were selling. The text came the morning of my discharge. It was from Tara. Come to the house. We need to talk. I didn't even hesitate. I hit delete. No reply. No energy for games. I was waiting for Roy to pick me up when my phone rang. Unknown number, but I answered. "Hey, it's Jen," the voice said. I blinked. "Jen from high school?" "Yeah, I saw what's been going on. Thought you should check Facebook." I opened the app while she stayed on the line. There it was. A photo posted on my mom's page, public, front and center. All four of them standing outside the old house. A U-Haul in the background. Everyone dressed like it was a Sunday picnic. The caption? "We forgive him. He's still our brother." I zoomed in. Tara was holding a framed photo of me at maybe 8 years old. Missing front teeth, arms wrapped around our family dog like I didn't know what betrayal meant yet. Underneath the photo was another caption. "We're keeping a room ready." Jen was still on the line. "You okay?" I didn't answer. I just hung up. It didn't even make me angry. It just felt fake, performed, like they were setting a trap made of pity, the kind of thing that only works if you still care what people think. The next day, Roy met me in the lobby with a stack of discharge papers and a black envelope. "Certified delivery," he said. "From your dad." Inside was a single page, handwritten, his version of a will. If I returned and reconciled, I'd remain in the inheritance. If not, I'd be disowned. His exact words: "This family must be preserved. We can't reward betrayal." I read it twice. Then I laughed, not out of spite, just pure disbelief. They'd lied, stolen, dragged my name, and tried to take legal control of my life. And I was the one being disinherited? Roy didn't say anything, just handed me his phone. "Want me to call Alan?" I nodded. When Alan picked up, I told him everything. "Got it," he said. "I'll prepare the response. You want the full block?" "Yeah," I said. "All of it. Legal disavowal, no contact order, financial wall, permanent." He exhaled like he'd been waiting for that line. "Understood." I hung up and handed Roy his phone back. We walked out of that hospital like we were leaving a crime scene. By the time we got home, the social media posts had ramped up again. Tara had reshared the family photo with a new caption. "We know he's hurting. We still love him." It felt like emotional ransom. They weren't trying to fix anything. They were just performing sympathy, hoping someone would pressure me into playing along. I turned off my phone for the rest of the night. The next morning I met Roy at his kitchen table. Coffee, legal pad, folder. We made another list. Everything left to seal. Every document, password, alert, and lockout. Alan had already drafted the no contact order. I signed it. Then I signed the inheritance disavowal. Roy watched me. "That's the last tie, son." I nodded. "Good. Sure you don't want to keep some leverage?" "I don't want anything that ties me to them." He reached across the table and folded the papers. "Then you're free." 2 weeks later, Roy and I packed the truck, turned off our phones, and drove straight to Colorado, middle of nowhere. No welcome committee, no neighbors, just a small cabin on a ridge, Wi-Fi strong enough for work, and trees thick enough to block the world out. We unloaded in silence. No need for words, just him handing me boxes, and me stacking them like I'd done it 100 times. That first night, I stood outside on the porch. Cold air, pine needles, silence, real silence. Not the kind you get in a hospital or a fake hug or a group text. This was silence that didn't expect anything from me. I started a remote gig, part-time, flexible, no meetings. I cut my hours to 20 a week and never looked back. The rest of the time, I hiked, slept in, cooked food that didn't come in plastic, read books I didn't even remember downloading. I woke up when I wanted, answered no one. No Chelsea Venmos, No emergency texts. No dad in the driveway trying to guilt me into fixing his mess. Every few days I'd get a ping from someone back home, an old friend, a cousin, even Jen once. I didn't reply. I knew what they wanted. Closure. Clarity. A way to wrap the story up in a bow that made them feel better. They weren't getting it from me. They could keep telling their version. That I snapped. That I lost my mind. That I threw away my family over money and pride. That I was the broken one. Let them. They weren't there when the bills piled up in my name. They didn't visit when I collapsed. They didn't hold my hand in the hospital. They didn't even send flowers. But they sure knew how to post about it after. Quick pause. Drop the comment if are you still here. Curious? Who's still listening? Thanks, friends. And the story? Some nights I'd lie in bed and think about how much I gave them. Time, money, space in my head I'll never get back. I waited years for someone to notice I was drowning. All I got was silence and bills. I'm not angry. Not anymore. I'm not bitter either. That'd mean I still cared. I'm just done. And sometimes, being done is the strongest move you'll ever make.
YouTube picked this for you. Tap it. Let's see if they guessed right.